Hello everyone, I'm Andy from the Pixel Pub and I'm here to talk about our most recent retro game pickups. Okay, it's been a few months since we've done one of these. Been fortunate enough to find some stuff over the past couple of months. We hit up a surprise retro gaming like pop-up selling thing here locally and I put up a video about that. We went to a few places back in the beginning of February and picked up some stuff there. And Kathy has picked up some stuff from a very local, not a retro game store, but they sell vinyls and they're trying to sell some video games as well, and we want to support the local business and add games to our collection. So let's just get into it. Okay, first up, got a game on the PS3 here. Something Kathy picked up. It is Twisted Metal. This was a big reboot for Sony at the time. I remember when it first came out, it was kind of like pitched as like the big multiplayer Twisted Metal that was trying to be like Call of Duty, like the big multiplayer games at the time. And I don't think it really hit for a lot of people. They haven't made it anymore. This is the last one. And Kathy has played some of it, and I think she agrees that it didn't really hit as hard as the rest of the Twisted Metal, or the rest of the Twisted Metal series, which is a shame, but sometimes those older genres are hard to recreate, like car combat games like Twisted Metal and, Vigilante 8 and stuff like that. That was a moment in time on the PS1 era, and like it's kind of hard to take that into a modern context. But they tried with Twisted Metal on the PS3, and it didn't really work out. And we haven't really seen a lot since for stuff like this. I know they got the Twisted Metal series, Star Samoa Joe as Sweet Tooth. Maybe I guess it's successful. They keep filming seasons. He keeps having to leave wrestling for a while to go film Twisted Metal, so maybe they'll try to do something with the game. I imagine there's someone at some Sony studio somewhere brainstorming, trying to figure out a way to capitalize on that and make another game. But yeah, it's Twisted Metal on PS3. Okay, next up we got some PS4 games here, and this is another Kathy pickup. And there's some distinct differences between what I pick up and what Kathy picks up, because I have standards, Kathy has none. The game works, that's it. So this is Injustice 2. The sequel, Injustice Gods Among Us. I don't know which way is the front way to do this, because you just got the steelbook, and stuff like this infuriates me because I want a uniform shelf. I don't like steelbooks and stuff like that. But this, it's a fighting game from NetherRealm, the Mortal Kombat people. They put out 2 of these and then stopped. They just kept making Mortal Kombat games, which is weird. And I know that there's this weird, what's going to happen to Warner and all this other stuff with the buyout from the Paramount people, what's going to happen with their games division, let alone Mortal Kombat, and smaller subsection of that. Will they make another Injustice? I don't know, but I haven't played too much of Injustice 2, but Injustice 1 was when the PS4 came out, I believe it was one of those first PlayStation Plus games that I downloaded, and I played a lot of it. I had a damn good time with it. I like playing as Flash, I like playing as Nightwing. They were fun characters. I think I do have this as a games on the PlayStation Plus thing, and I played like a little bit of it, but Kathy wanted a physical version. She's been in her fighting game feels here for the past several months. So yeah, it's in our collection now. Okay, next up is a game I picked up off eBay for like $8, brand new actually. It's on the PS4. It's a sequel to one of the games I really loved on the Xbox 360. Is Deus Ex Mankind Divided. This came out on PS4 several years ago, and despite really loving Deus Ex Human Revolution on the 360, I never really played this, and it was one of the games on PlayStation Plus that I downloaded, played like 5 minutes of, and just like I have other stuff to play. So I was just thinking about like stuff like Cyberpunk and stuff like that completely overtook stuff like Deus Ex. I was like, let me see how much I can get a physical copy for on eBay, and it was like $8.99 for a brand new copy. So I was like, pulled the trigger on that. Still haven't played it. I think I will definitely have time for this at some point, because like I said, I really like Human Revolution, but it was a long time ago. So we'll see how I feel about this when I do get around to it, because they're not that long of games, and it should be a fun little time. Next up, we got some PSP games here. The first one here we talked about in the surprise game hunt is Tactics Ogre Let Us Cling Together, which is a remake of a Super Famicom game that did not come out over here, a tactics-based game. Grids, job classes, stuff like that, kind of like the precursor to Final Fantasy Tactics, which took off and blew up. Tactics Ogre kind of just didn't really go anywhere for some reason. I'm not sure. But like I said, it is a remake of the Super Famicom game, so it does predate Final Fantasy Tactics. They also did a remake of this game for the Switch, Nintendo Switch. And yeah, it's a strategy game. I haven't really played it. This was a Kathy pickup, and the Switch remake has been on our radar for a very long time. People seem to really like this game. At the surprise game hunt, when she had to choose between the Switch version, which was there, and the PSP version, which is in my hand now, she chose the PSP version. Why? She wants more PSP games. She's probably correct on that because we have a ton of Switch games. We have like 7 PSP games.
I do want the Switch one too.
But yeah, Tactics Ogre. I'm not going to play it because I'm terrible at these games. Kathy will play it. She'll have a fun time. Next up was also a Kathy pickup. This is weird one. Is Dirt 2. Colin McRae's Dirt 2. I don't have too much experience with the Dirt series except for Dirt 3. I played that on 360 and had a damn good time. That was a ton of fun to play that game. And Kathy wanted the PSP version. I kind of understand it. I don't know if she has the same thought process I do, but I kind of love these like early 3D racing games. And I'm not saying the PSP is early, but it's low kind of hardware. It's not a PS2. It's not a 360. It's kind of channeling like a PS1 type of hardware situation, maybe a little less. So you get that grime, you get that you get the polygons, you get them pixels, and it all looks. They're trying so hard to make something that looks incredible in 3D for like a racing game, but they're limited to this like the hardware that they have. So I don't know. Why is that? Why you picked this up? And next up is a game that I picked up for Kathy for Valentine's Day. We did our little video where we went out in February. That was actually on Valentine's Day when we did it, and my leg really hurt. It was a whole deal. But we're just going to buy each other games for Valentine's Day. And this is something that Kathy spotted at Hidden Block Games that she wanted. And I think in the thumbnail, I haven't made it yet. I'm going to say, we got a lot of RPGs because there are a lot of RPGs I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. And a lot of like Holy Grail games that we really, really want in the collection. And this is one of them I didn't talk about in the video, but it is Shin Megami Tensei Persona. On the PSP is the very first Persona ported to the PSP, or not ported. I think that it's a full-blown remake. Like they've changed a lot of stuff. This is something that she eyeballed and that she wanted, and I did pick it up for her. And she has been playing it on multiple PSPs that we have in the house. It seems like she's having a good time with it. It's not a cheap game by any stretch of the imagination for like one game, but I was thinking about it while we were at the store and looking at it and like, what do we want to pick up? And for like a mainline series of, beloved RPGs, the first Persona game and the Persona 2 and Persona 2B, like there's 2 different ones, Innocent Sin and Eternal Punishment, I think is what they're called. They're expensive games, but it's just those. Like you don't have to dig deep into, tons of different sequels and all this other stuff. Like there's Persona 1, there's 2A and 2B, there's 3, 4, and 5. So to have a complete physical collection of all the Persona games, while daunting price-wise, you could peel the Band-Aid off really quickly because there's not that many of them. So now that we got this, there are PSP versions of Persona 2, Innocent Sin, and Eternal Punishment that originally came out on the PS1. One of them we didn't get out over here. I'm not sure which one. But there are both of them on the PSP, so we can get those at some point. They're more expensive than this, but like I said, it's not. They are expensive, but it's not this just crazy amount of games you have to get an entire physical collection. It's just 2 more. They will have a physical version of every single Persona numbered game, and that's pretty cool in my opinion. Okay, next up we got the Lone Dreamcast game, and it's something I've been wanting for a very long time. I picked it up off eBay for a future video. I just wanted to have a physical version of it, but it is Hydro Thunder on the Dreamcast. Hydro Thunder, an arcade racing game by Midway, where you're racing boats, you're racing speedboats, and it was a ton of fun in the arcade. It was a launch title on the Dreamcast. I never had it. I rented it a lot. I rented it on the Dreamcast. I rented it on N64. I was like, well, I want a physical version for my collection, and I got one. And it is a ton of fun. I messed around with it, and it's still pretty good. And it wasn't that expensive, but it probably wasn't that expensive because there is a hole in the manual. It's kind of weird. Just like a little rat ate through that specific spot right there. I did look on eBay for just the manual, and it was like $12. I'm like, that's half the price of the game. but I might go for it because that hole does bother me. Looking at it is just kind of like, what? Anyway, I do love this game. I want more Dreamcast games, period. This is one of the cheaper ones you can get, and they're still a ton of fun to play. I know Dreamcast games prices could be crazy, but this was like $25. So yeah, complete in the box. Hydro Thunder. Okay, now we got the meat of the video. It's all PS1 games from here. So I talked about this in the surprise game hunt. It is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. The first one on the PS1 I want for a future video is $15. Not the greatest hits. Notice I said that in the video. Kathy doesn't care about that big green thing. I do. I want a uniform shelf. If I can help it, I'm not going to get a greatest hits version. I did see a greatest hits version on that game hunt in February at Hidden Block for the same price, $15. I was like, I don't want the greatest hits. So I'm glad I waited, because now I have this in the collection, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is a damn fun game. I never owned the original. I rented it a bunch of times. I rented it on the Dreamcast a couple of times. I rented it on the N64 a couple of times, but I never owned it. First one I did own was 2. 2's way better, obviously. 3's pinnacle. Some say would be the best PS2 game of all time. But yeah, there's nothing, not a damn thing wrong with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1. It's still a damn fun time. And I'm glad I have it in the collection. And it's like, it's in damn good shape. Sometimes you get some of these PS1 games and there's like, there's this, there's that. There's all these little flaws because there's like these plastic cases. They're flimsy and all this other stuff. They break so easily. This one, I'm hard pressed to find too many problems with it. It's like, it's got a bunch of scratches on the thing, but you kind of have to like look into the light just right to see them. And that's nothing. I really like this. Go big, Hawk style. What it says on the back. The next 2 games we're going to talk about different standards about me and Kathy here. We talked about it on the surprise game hunt video, but it's Twisted Metal 4. It is the greatest hits, and it does have a bunch of cracks on the case. Explain yourself. Oh, Sherry explained herself. She said she just really wanted it because we don't have it. We have it now. The 4th Twisted Metal game on the PS1. They might have been beating a dead horse by this point. Was this 989 who did this? I want to say it was. I don't see their logo on the back. But it is 989 East Hillside Boulevard, Foster City, California. I don't know. Whenever Single Track stopped making the Twisted Metal games, after 2, they kind of went downhill. But ironically, that's when Kathy's like, her first one was 3, right? And she loves it. Everyone hates that game, except for Kathy. And this is the sequel to that. Too much Rob Zombie. Too much, not enough fun stuff. I don't know. Actually, I'm talking from like the internet discourse. I've never actually played this game. I need to give it a shot. More than 20 wicked new characters and vehicles with new weapons. Yeah. I don't know. It is like 1999, 2000 in a nutshell. This game. It's just, it can be wicked, man. Fucking Rob Zombie, yeah. All right, this is a game that Kathy picked up at our local game-ish shop. It is Gauntlet Legends on the PS1. A lot of cracks on the screen on this one, or the screen, on the case on this one. But Gauntlet Legends was a fun idea at the time. Gauntlet being a very old game. I don't think it was it made by Midway or was it made by Williams? Or was it made by Atari? I think it was made by Atari. And then Midway bought that division of Atari, the arcade division. Then Midway owns it. I think that's what happened. But I had Gauntlet 2 on the NES. And Gauntlet was a weird-ass arcade game and a home console game as well, because you're like dungeon crawling. You pick a Valkyrie or a warrior or an elf or a wizard, and you go into these like dungeons and you just shoot enemies. You have to shoot their little enemy spawners as well, get keys, open doors, blah, blah, blah. But like, this game was such a like product of its time, like a quarter muncher. Like, your health was constantly going down. Even if you weren't doing anything, if you weren't getting attacked, your health was constantly going down. And that's something you had to, like, if you wanted to beat this game in the arcade, hey buddy, I love you too. You had to keep pumping quarters into it. So it was insane. So they did this big late 90s relaunch of it. Gauntlet Legends. It was this big multi-console deal. It came out in this, came out in the N64, came out in the Dreamcast, it came out in the arcades. and they had some stuff where you can like move your characters over from the home console to the arcade. It was just like this big relaunch of Gauntlet with Gauntlet Legends, and I say it's pretty successful. I remember playing a lot of it, and it did get a sequel, Gauntlet: The Seven Sorrows, I think is what it's called. Or is that the one that didn't come out? I can't remember. But yeah, it was a fun-ass time. Kathy had played it, and she got addicted. She played through a couple of levels, and she's like, I can't stop playing. So yeah, it's still a fun time to this day, Gauntlet Legends. Okay, next up is a game that Kathy picked up at the surprise game hunt. The little pop-up retro shop there thing here is Legend of Dragoon. This is a game that she didn't really know too much about, despite us basically owning it for like a day. A long time ago, I remember my buddy Mike, he was a big fan of Legend of Dragoon back in the day, and I picked it up for him at a game shop for his birthday. And I didn't want to give him a game that was busted, so we got home and tested it out. And Kathy played it. She played kind of a bit of it. I was like, you can't get addicted to this because it's not ours. What is it, buddy? Biscuit. He's not having something. He just wants to get to bed. That's all he wants. I told her you can't get addicted to this because it's not ours. And she doesn't remember that at all. I remember it. But she picked it up. It's way more expensive than what we paid for several years ago for my buddy. But it's a weird game because it's a big Sony production of a JRPG, turn-based RPG, when they were huge on the PS1. This is post Final Fantasy VII, that blew everything up, and people wanted to, get that JRPG money. And they made this, and by most accounts, I remember it being pretty successful. Like, people liked it, and it has the active turn-based combat where you have to hit the button to defend and hit the button to attack to get more damage and stuff like that. It looks like a Mario RPG or a Expedition 33 for, modern players. And they put a lot of production into it. There's a lot of like the big cutscenes like a Final Fantasy and stuff like that. But this was it. Like, there was never a sequel. They haven't done a remake of it. They haven't done anything with Legend of Dragoon since this game came out. That's it. Which is weird to me. I don't know. I've never played too much of it myself. We have it in the collection now. Maybe I'll get to it at some point. But I don't know. I feel like maybe Sony might be missing an opportunity with this franchise that they own. Not franchise. It's not even a franchise. It's one game with this property that they own. It's I don't know. Maybe it's time to reach back into the Legend of Dragoon well. Okay, next up is a game that Kathy picked up from the local-ish or the local retro game-ish store. Star Ocean. What is it? The Second Story. This is the sequel to Star Ocean that originally came out on the Super Famicom, and we did not get it over here. This is the PlayStation version. I played this game, the remake of this game on the PS5 a few years ago, and had a damn good time with it. I really, really enjoyed it. I started Star Ocean with Star Ocean 3 on the PS2, and I did not like it at all. I did not. I was coming from playing games like Tales, the Tales of series, and while having similar combat, like, action-based combat in a RPG-ish world, the way Star Ocean 3 handled it versus like Tales of Symphonia or Tales of the Abyss, I did not like it. It was an immediate turn off, and I completely just wrote off the Star Ocean series after that. And I was like, I'm good. But seeing the remake of 2 here, getting all these good reviews, and it looked really pretty. There's this big HD look to it. I was like, okay, I want to give it a shot. And I played it and had a damn good time. So it's like completely reassessed my outlook on Star Ocean. And after I beat it, there was a lot of this different stuff in the game. I was like, surely they didn't have this stuff on the PS1 version. Like, this had to be added to this remake. And no, like a lot of this stuff, like all these different like side abilities you can learn with your different characters and stuff like that give you advantages in the game, they're totally in this. And I was like completely blown away. And Kathy picked this up. She sent me a picture of what the guy had, and like, do we need any of this stuff? And I was like, well, the first one that jumped out at me was Star Ocean. Like, we have to have that. It's a damn fun game. Play that remake if you can. You don't have access to a PS1 or anything like that. But yeah, I'm anxious to play more Star Ocean games now after playing that remake, because it opened my eyes. Okay, last game here is another RPG and another Grail game that we have wanted for a long time. Or I have. It is Lunar 2 Eternal Blue Complete on the PS1. This is the big old box that Working Designs like to put out at the time to try to sell their games. This is the sequel to Lunar. It's Lunar 2. And Kathy had said recently that she thinks Lunar, the first one, is one of her favorite games of all time now. So she really wanted this. Even though she played the GBA version, which doesn't have all the anime cutscenes and the fun music and all that stuff. So it must have been a good time. So we spotted this. It was at a couple of different vendors that Retro Game pop up, the surprise game hunt that we went on. And this one had the most stuff in there because there's a lot of stuff in this box. But it is missing the pendant. And I was looking online, and I think we can get the pendant for like $100. So I don't know if that's something you want to do to make it complete. But we have it now, and in all its majesty, it's just this big fat box. I remember seeing these Lunar games at like Walmart and stuff back in the day, and just seeing these gigantic boxes. I'm like, what is in there? And I never played them. I was so like, square pilled. Like I was like, I'm not playing any RPGs that aren't square. They make the good stuff. What is this? What is this nonsense? And then I played Grandia, which I think is the same team that made this. And I was like, okay, I need to play more. I need to stretch out and play stuff that's not square. But yeah, she wanted this and she got it. And now it's in our collection. We're going to display it proudly with other PlayStation games. Over here, maybe she'll play it one day, but we do have the Lunar remastered stuff on the Switch. That's how I'm going to play Lunar. That's how I'm going to dig in deep on the Switch, but it's nice to have this big mamma jamma in the collection. Okay, that's been the retro game pickups that we've gotten here the past couple months. If you picked up any retro games in the past couple months, let me know in the comments. Talk about retro games. Let me know what you picked up, what you've been playing, all that fun stuff. Biscuit, what do you think, buddy? He just wants pets. Anyway, please like and subscribe, all of that fun stuff. I've been in for the Pixel Pub. Peace out.